Hello, good morning students. How are you? I hope you will be good and enjoying your physics lessons at home these days. I am Dr. R.K. Sharma, the physics educator. So today we are going to discuss the new topic that is the new chapter itself rather, that is laws of motion. So class 11 physics and the laws of motion is very important unit. So as you know, a part of this year we studied earlier in class 9th as well. So today the first topic is force. What is force? Force is basically push or pull, right? Which tends to move a stationary body, or if a body is already in motion, it can stop this also or can change the direction. So what is a force? It is basically pull or push, which tends to move a stationary body or which can change the direction of a body or which opposes the motion of a body. Now the question is, why do we require a force? So force, there is a property called inertia. So each and every body is having a property of inertia. That is the property by virtue of which a body would like to remain in its state of rest or motion, right? Unless until it is applied, or some force, external force is applied on it. So that is inertia. To overcome that inertia, we need to apply a force to move the body or to stop a moving body. And as and when any body moves, so what is the term called, new term, that is linear momentum. So when a body of mass m moves with a uniform velocity v, then momentum p is defined as product of mass and velocity of the moving body. Right, so therefore the momentum is similar to the letter P. So P is equal to m into V. V is the velocity and P is the, V velocity is a vector and P is also vector quantity. So you have to represent in the vector form. So P vector is equal to m into V vector. And its SI unit will be mass in kg meter per second square, kg meter per second. Okay, and of course, that is converted into the Newton to second. So ideally the SI unit is Newton into second. So basically we need to write down the 4 parameters at least. Okay, that is what is the definition. So definition are saying that is momentum is defined as product of mass and velocity. What is the formula? P is equal to m into V. What is the SI unit? Newton into second. And even one more thing you can write down, the dimensional formula. So therefore you can say the dimension formula will be mass, that is capital M, and velocity, that is LT minus 1. So these are the 4 parameters we are supposed to give about any physical quantity. Alright, so this is the vector quantity, this is the dimension formula, this is the SI unit, and this is the formula, and definition we have already given. Now we come to the Newton's laws of motion, right? So Newton's first law is nothing, there are 3 laws, that is first law, second law and third law. So Newton's first law is nothing but also called as law of inertia, that states a body will remain in a state of rest or motion unless an external force is applied on it. Okay, so that is simply the inertia, right? So what are the possible examples you can take? Okay, so if a book is lying on the table, it will remain there only until you apply the force. Alright, so and similarly that is suppose there is a blanket. Okay, so there are some individual holes and the dust particle there. Okay, so when you just cane it, okay, so when we do the caning of a blanket, okay, dust particles are being removed, so there are some examples like this. Then Newton's second law. So Newton's second law is basically when some force, let's say some force F is applied on a body or object of mass m and it start moving with velocity v. Initially it may be say at 0 velocity, right? So suppose the initial velocity is taken as u, it is 0. Say for example, or there may be some velocity, and if applied then some velocity will increase. So when force is being applied, the body get momentum, and there is a possibility of changing momentum over the time. Okay, so we say the time rate of change of momentum is called force. So here we can define the second law as that is a force is directly proportional to the rate of change of momentum, that is dp upon dt. When we equate, there is a constant k and that is dp upon dt. But this k is constant proportionality, it is taken as 1 in ideal cases, okay. So therefore force is equal to dp upon dt. That is called, the time rate of change of momentum. Clear? Time rate of change of momentum. So therefore, and force, momentum is a vector, force is also a vector quantity. Alright, so let us do a little more something about the force. So as we say, that is F is equal to dp upon dt, right? When time is very small, okay, so this change in momentum you can simply say as what? That is dmv, right, minus of mu, okay, upon dt. Alright, so that is simply this is a small change in momentum. Alright, so therefore in short we can simply say that is p2 minus p1 upon t, or in short we can say even delta p upon delta t for the smaller time, okay. So F is equal to this as well. Alright, so now if you take the delta p as what, the mass into change in velocity upon delta t, right? Now mass is separate and delta v upon delta t will be the acceleration. So you will have F is equal to m and a is the acceleration, okay. So therefore the another formula for force is F is equal to m into a. So here you can say the a is nothing but increase of delta v upon delta t, right? So this is very important formula, useful in the numerical problems, okay. And the SI unit is nothing but Newton. The CGS unit is dyne, dyne, and there is a relationship that 1 Newton is equal to 10 to the power 5 dynes. Okay. Okay, so now we will take the Newton's third law. So Newton's third law is says third law, that is to every action there is a equal and opposite reaction. All right. So let's say this is take some object A and this is the another object B. So if this force applied is FAB, right, then the force applied by B on A will be suppose FBA. So then according to this law, that is FAB is equal and opposite to FBA. That is the force applied by body A on body B is equal and opposite to the force applied by body B on body A. So therefore to every action there is a equal and opposite reaction. That is the third law. Okay. Now we can take that is a law of conservation of momentum. Law of conservation of momentum. Okay, momentum. So what does this law says? It says or states that is the total momentum of an isolated system always remains conserved or constant if no external force acts on the system. Alright, that is the total momentum P will be equal to constant if the net force F acting on the system is 0. How to prove it? So since dp upon dt was equal to F, but if F is equal to 0, so then you can say the dp upon dt will also be equal to 0, or you can simply say that is a dp upon dt will come here, okay. So even the dp, right, will be equal to 0. So if you integrate it, okay, so you will get the integration dp is equal to 0, or simply p is equal to some c, that a constant of integration, meaning thereby it is a constant when We got this P as constant when the force F was equal to 0. Alright, so this statement is verified. That is, if no external force act on the system, then the net momentum P will be equal to 0. Alright, now we have some example of this. So the example 1, okay, of momentum conservation is a collision. Right, so collision is say the elastic collision. Okay, so let us take, there is a body of mass m1 moving with some initial velocity, say u1, and there is another body of mass m2 moving some initial velocity u2 in same direction. Now if u1 is greater than u2, so what will happen? The u1, that is first body moving velocity u1, will collide with the second body. Okay, so then after collision, let's say they collide, and after collision, say the first body start to move with velocity v1 and the second body start to move with velocity v2. Right, then as per the law of conservation of momentum, what the total momentum before collision should be equal to total momentum after collision. So therefore you can say, according to law of conservation of momentum, that is total momentum, right, before collision, right, is equal to the total momentum after collision. Total momentum after collision. Okay, after collision. So what is the total momentum before collision? That is, the momentum of first body will be m1 u1 and of second body will be m2 u2. So it should be equal to, that is, m1 v1 plus m2 v2. So this is very important formula for the numerical problems. Alright, yes, so this is one of the good example of the law of conservation of momentum regarding the elastic collision of the two bodies. This was the elastic collision. Okay, now the second example we take, the recoil of gun. Okay, recoil of gun. Let's say there is a gun like this. There is a gun, and this is the trigger. Okay, right, and there is a bullet inside. You can say of mass small m. Small m is the mass of the bullet which is inside in the gun, and capital M is the mass of the gun. When trigger is fired or bullet is fired or gun is fired, what will happen? This bullet will come out with some velocity. So this bullet of mass small m, say, comes out with velocity small v. Then we found there is a backward jerk in the gun. Right, let's say that velocity of the backward jerk is v. Alright, so what we are considering, so let's say that capital M is nothing but the mass of gun, right? Okay, and small m is the mass of bullet, and small v is the velocity of bullet with which it comes out, and let's say capital V is the velocity of recoil of gun. So recoil means it's getting backward jerk, but let's see why backward jerk. Okay, so if we apply the law of conservation of momentum, so law of conservation of momentum will say that is total momentum before firing the gun should be equal to the momentum after firing the gun. So according to law of conservation of momentum, that is total momentum before firing will be what? That is mass and the mass of the gun into its velocity 0, because before firing nothing was moving. Similarly, the small m, that a bullet was also at rest, okay, so there was no velocity 0. And after the firing the gun, okay, let's say that is a v is the velocity of the gun which we have assumed here, okay, and the momentum of the bullet will be m into v. So the momentum of the gun is capital M into capital V, and of bullet is small m into v. But before firing it was 0. So therefore you say 0 is equal to mv plus mv small, or you can simply say mv is equal to minus of mv, or v is equal to minus mv upon capital M, meaning thereby that is this velocity is coming with the minus, meaning thereby the direction of this v will be opposite to the direction of the bullet. That means if the bullet was coming out in this direction, so then the gun will be getting recoiled in this way. So this negative sign shows the recoil of gun. Recoil of gun, that is gun gets backward jerk. Okay. So these were the two good examples of the momentum conservation, that is elastic collision of the two moving balls, okay, and the recoil of the gun. Clear? So I hope you understood this very well. Clear? So now we can take some example or the questions based on this. All right. Okay. Clear? So now let's say very important question we can take this, that is there is a body, right, of mass 1 kg. There is a body of mass 1 kg. After explosion, right, whatever this body is, it suppose explodes, okay, so there is a explosion, it explodes, and it converts into 3 fragments. It converts into 3 fragments. Okay. Say in the masses ratio m1 is to m2 is to m3 in the ratio of 1 is to 1 is to 3. All right. 1 is to 1 is to 3. Clear? So total mass is this. And when they are just getting into 3 fragments, okay, say start moving. That is the 2 particles of the equal masses, okay, start moving after explosion with the same velocity, say 30 each, meaning thereby suppose we consider v1 and v2 as velocity of the fragments having the similar masses, okay, so these velocities, the question says, is 30 meter per second. We have to find out the velocity of the third heavier fragment, that what is the velocity of the v3 if these 2 particles of equal masses, okay, moves perpendicular to each other after explosion. Clear? So now see the question again, that 1 kg mass body was there, explosion took place, and the masses it converted into 3 fragments, okay, of masses in the ratio m1 is to m2 is to m3 as 1 is to 1 is to 3, right, and the 2 particles of fragments of the equal masses, okay, moves outward, okay, with the speeds of 30 each at 90, that is perpendicular each other. Find the velocity of the third fragment. So as you know, how to start the solution? See, as we know, m1 plus m2 plus m3 is nothing but 1 kg. So obviously you can simply say that m1 will be equal to 0.2 kg, right, and m2 will be equal to 0.2 kg, right, and m3 will be equal to 0.6 kg. Clear? Yes. And v1, v2 will be this, and v3. Now how to proceed to get this v3? Now let's see that here is the body, right, and let us consider this body, before the explosion, say at origin of a two-dimensional plane, that is xy, right? So out of this, let's say the one fragment, say of mass m1, moves with velocity v1 this side, and then second m2 mass body, okay, or fragment, okay, will move, say this side, say with velocity v2 in such a manner that these two are perpendicular to each other as per the question. Meaning thereby we can take, this angle is as 45 degree and this angle is also as a 45 degree. Alright, and let's say that is a third particle or fragment, okay, m3 moves with certain velocity v3 this side. Alright. Yes, so very interesting now. So we have understood the question, that is this originally was a 1 kg object, or the any object, right? And after explosion took place, it converted to, or split into three fragments. The two fragments of equal masses are moving mutually perpendicular to each other, and the third one is moving, say this side. So we are giving the velocity of these one v1 v2, right? So because we have taken this case in such a manner, the angle being 90 degrees, so we can take, the 45 like this. So to solve it further, let me proceed. As you know, this is a m1 v1 is the momentum, is a vector quantity. So the angle is given, so you can resolve this, okay? So this side you will get m1 v1 cos 45, and this side you will get, the m1 v1 sin 45. Similarly, you can resolve this momentum of this second particle as well, of fragment m2 v2 is the momentum. So the moment you will resolve, so you will get, the m2 v2 cos 45 this side, and of course, the m2 v2 and sin 45 this side. Alright. So now, therefore, because when the explosion took place, okay, so we generally say that is if system is equilibrium, because it's based on the law of conservation of momentum, that is the upward, the vector should neutralize or should be equal and opposite to this, and this horizontal should be equal and opposite to this. So we can form the two equations. So basically, that is this m3 v3 momentum should be equal to this. So therefore we can say from the diagram you will see that is m3 v3 should be equal to this total momentum, which is m1 v1 cos 45, and even we are having m2 v2 cos 45. So everything is given. This is nothing but 0.2 into 30, and what the value of cos 45? It is 1 upon root 2, and here it is again 0.2 into v2, that is 30, and cos 45 is again 1 upon root 2, right? So you can simplify this, So m1 and m2 masses since equal, and the velocities were equal, okay? So obviously the moment you will add, you will get some value, and here also you will see the m3 was nothing but 0.6, and v3 of course we don't know. Clear? So how much you will get? You can solve this. So this everything is given to you. All these parameters are given to you. So you can easily find out this value of v3. It's no problem at all. Just simplify. This very simple mathematics involved, okay? Some multiplication and division. But basically, I was supposed to explain the right. That is, what are the possible, steps of solution of such questions. Clear? So I hope you understood this concept very well, okay? So thank you. Have a nice day.